By default, Dynamics 365 stores information in Microsoft Dataverse, but as database sizes grow, monitoring consumption becomes crucial to avoid unnecessary cloud storage costs. Before exploring ways to optimize your storage, let's look at how this works in Dataverse. For each tenant, Dataverse has 3 categories, which represent different types of data, and each of these has a capacity limit. Firstly, there's the relational database, which stores your Dynamics records and tables. Then there's file storage, which includes attachments stored in your environments from Word documents, PDFs, and other files. And thirdly, there's log capacity, storing audits that detail data changes over time for compliance and governance purposes. When you purchase your first base license for a Dynamics 365 product, your tenant will receive a default capacity for each of these 3 usage types. For example, at the time of recording, provisioning Dynamics Sales Enterprise provides 10 GB of database capacity for relational storage. There's also 20 GB of file storage to cover attachments and 2 GB capacity for audit logs. Additional Dynamics licenses can further increase your tenant storage capacity depending on the license type. For instance, purchasing extra enterprise user licenses of Dynamics Sales would accrue increased capacity of database storage at the rate of 250 MB per license and additional file storage at 2 GB per license beyond the base level. Administrators can monitor Dataverse usage in the Power Platform Admin Center. From this dashboard, you can check your capacity across the 3 storage types and monitor the usage trend over time. In this example, the file storage has exceeded its capacity and the database usage is close to its limit. Scrolling down, you can check the consumption for each environment, and here we're looking at database usage across Dynamics production and dev sites. These environment capacity visuals allow you to drill into the details to understand the top database, file and log tables and their growth over time, which makes it a good starting point to identify what's using capacity in your environment. Before looking at ways to reduce usage and optimize your cloud storage, it's worth considering what happens when a tenant runs over any of these storage capacities. In the short term, end users can continue their operations, such as creating records or uploading documents. The main disruptions arise in admin functions. This could mean you can't create, copy, or restore an environment. For example, a minimum of 1 GB capacity is needed to create or recover an environment. Exceeding Dataverse capacity could also mean you won't be able to provision a new Dynamics app, and a further problem can arise when attempting to import data if you have insufficient capacity. Microsoft automatically sends notifications and reminders to administrators when any storage capacity has 15% or less remaining space. A further warning is sent if any capacity has less than 5% space remaining, so these notifications generally provide ample time to take proactive action. The final notification is triggered if a tenant exceeds its storage entitlements, placing it in an overage situation. To avoid this, you can request a temporary extension that will increase your capacity by 25% for 30 days, and this can be done for up to 3 times within 12 months. Purchasing more storage space is generally the quickest and easiest option, but to minimize the additional expense, consider if some of your Dynamics data could be removed and whether all of it needs to be physically stored in Dataverse. Let's look at 10 options for freeing up capacity and reducing storage costs. Firstly, there's bulk deletion, which is the most common way of pruning a database to get rid of anything which doesn't need to be retained. This could be an ad hoc manual process where you apply filters to identify duplicate records, test data, suspended flows, and any old records such as completed activities. Alternatively, you could automatically apply the same criteria by using a Power Automate flow that runs each week or repeatedly on any other interval. Anything found by these rules would be deleted to free up your storage capacity. One specific deletion approach is audit log management, which can be a simple fix because there's rarely a need to retain these logs forever. For example, if you complete a large data import or if someone performs a bulk operation, what's your policy for retaining these logs? You can review your environment's audit settings in the Power Platform Admin Center. Several of our clients have encountered recent storage challenges with Copilot transcripts. These record user interactions with the Copilot assistant and include the content shown in these chats, such as text and summaries from Dynamics records. Each transcript is counted against the tenant file storage capacity. The size of these transcripts largely depends on Copilot usage in your organization, but also its configuration, including how many fields are shown in these summaries or checked for updates. When you allow Copilot to work with more Dynamics fields, it inevitably increases the size of these transcript files. By default, there's a 30-day retention policy for Copilot transcripts, so lowering this can minimize your storage consumption. If you do need to retain these transcripts longer, there are more cost-effective storage alternatives to Dataverse, as we'll cover shortly. Another database cleanup approach is to review the fields in your tables. If your organization has been using Dynamics for many years, some of these fields may be redundant, and if they're image or file fields, they might be consuming significant data. Even if they're just legacy text fields, it could still contribute to unnecessary data consumption when measured across thousands of records. Data deletion is just one approach to optimize storage, and these actions should always be carefully managed, with end users consulted to avoid accidental data loss through overzealous deletion. However, depending on your retention policy or regulatory demands, deletion might not be feasible. Also, rather like decluttering a home, you might not want to throw everything away, so another tactic is to consider where your data is stored. Using Dataverse retention policies, you can move inactive records into secure, long-term retention store within Dataverse. This helps you reduce database size and lower storage costs without compromising accessibility or retention requirements. Most data is compressed, which can cut usage by up to 50% while ensuring that it remains available for auditing and regulatory compliance purposes. The principle is similar to a bulk deletion process where you set criteria to identify inactive legacy records. Once matched, these are permanently moved from a managed environment into the Dataverse long-term retention data store. This ensures your data remains securely stored and accessible on a read-only basis through advanced find queries and Power Automate flows. However, this process doesn't compress attachments. While documents and other attachments can be moved into Dataverse long-term retention, this won't reduce their file capacity consumption. One alternative to manage document uploads and optimize file storage is to use SharePoint. By default, when you upload files in Dynamics, these are stored in Dataverse. Another approach could be to trigger a flow when files are uploaded that will store these documents in a SharePoint library, which offers a lower-cost solution. Another cost-effective alternative to Dataverse is to move archive data into Azure blob storage. This provides robust encryption and security features that ensure your data remains secure in Azure, but also means you don't pay a premium to store archived data. This is especially attractive if you have significant file attachments which need to be retained, especially considering that Dataverse retention policies don't offer any savings for these. Using Power Automate, ServerSys has helped several customers implement automated flows that push legacy data into secure blob storage in line with their retention policy, while keeping it accessible within the Dynamics interface. If you want to know more about how this could work for you, please do get in touch. A common cause of inefficient storage is poorly managed migrations from other systems. If you're importing into Dynamics, carefully consider which data you need to bring over and only take what you really need. You only want to bring across quality, active data. To minimize Dataverse storage demands and reduce data migration complexity, tough decisions sometimes have to be made to archive other types of data. If you have a legal obligation to retain older data, or there's a possibility that future access is required, there will always be a more cost-effective archive solution rather than putting this into Dataverse storage, as it isn't designed or priced to be a data warehouse. To finish, let's look at a couple of advanced solutions that avoid storing in Dataverse. Using virtual entities, you can look at data in Dynamics which is stored somewhere else. For example, this might be pointing to a SQL database or perhaps a legacy system. This means you can access complete information within the Dynamics interface without all of this data needing to be stored in Dataverse. Virtual entities are ideal for displaying transactional data in Dynamics by connecting to external sources such as ERP systems without duplicating the data storage. For enterprise needs, Microsoft Fabric is a unified platform that combines data integration, warehousing, and business intelligence in a single offering. For Microsoft Dynamics 365 customers, it optimizes storage costs through automated data tiering by moving old data to cheaper storage. It also offers unified data lakes that eliminate duplication between systems, provides advanced compression techniques, and intelligent retention policies. Fabric can archive historical transactions and aggregate real-time data instead of storing raw details. However, it comes with significant monthly costs, making it unsuitable for many small and mid-sized firms who will most likely benefit from the other data optimization strategies in this presentation. Ultimately, as you use Dynamics, your system and its data consumption will continue growing, often forcing administrators to choose between purchasing more cloud storage or deleting data. But hopefully this presentation has given you some ideas for alternative tactics to manage your Dataverse consumption effectively and minimize costs. If you want to know more, we recommend referring to the latest Microsoft licensing guide, or please get in touch with ServerSys. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates about Dynamics and the Microsoft platform.